others. All right, well, next we have our first email from Ken. So Ken says, I suffered a sprained wrist and a bruised jaw in a fight at a club. The bouncers were warned that things were getting bad and did nothing to separate the parties. When the punches started, they just watched at first and then ended up manhandling people who were trying to break things up. I'm not the one who was hurt. Are there legal actions I can take against the club?
Yeah, and I've seen cases like this from time to time as well. So these cases fall under generally what was called negligent security, right? Which Mississippi has kind of done away with. And we have what's called the Landowner Protection Act, which basically says that a business owner is not legally responsible for the intentional actions of a third party, right? So if somebody assaults you on a premises, the landowner themselves are not necessarily responsible. What the Landowner Protection Act says is it outlines a framework for when does that apply, right? The elements there are very strict. So, you know, you have to, the owner of the property has to what they call impel the conduct, right? They have to almost egg it on in a sense, and establish what they call an atmosphere of violence, right? To show an atmosphere of violence, you have to show 3 prior violent offenses at that property, not including yours, that ended in at least a felony arraignment. So the standard is very high. I have not seen a case, or I've not gotten a case personally, where those elements have been met. So short answer with regard to the club, you might have a claim, but it would have to establish the elements under the Landowner Protection Act. Now, whether you have a claim against the individual is a different question, right? So you can always file criminal charges against, or report it and file criminal charges against the individual, or if you wanted to pursue a civil assault or battery, you can do that as well. What's important about civil assaults and things like that, intentional torts, your statute of limitations, it can be as short as 1 year. So if you do want to go that route, I would suggest doing so immediately. Mm-hmm. I always suggest reporting it to the proper authorities, right? Again, that documentation and that reporting can only help you in the future. But yes, if you're interested in filing a claim against the club, I would recommend calling a lawyer, because as we said, these elements are strict, they're hard to establish, and you probably need an investigator to go find most of this information.
And they could tell you what to do.
That's right.